Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Nerd Herders. My name is Rich.
I'm Nick.
And we are from the Over a Beer channel. So, of course, every show that we do is over a beer. What are we drinking today, Nick?
Today, this is a cool one, I think. We'll see how it tastes. We're drinking the Sharkinator White IPA from Lost Coast Brewery. Our Great White taken to the next level by dry hopping it with Cascade, Crystal, Chinook, and Citra hops. Drink it all, we'll make more.
It's got a badass metal shark on it.
It's brewed in a cool place, Eureka, California. I think that's that Sci-Fi Channel show, Eureka, is from there. I never watched it.
I didn't either.
Let's give it a shot.
Cool.
It's got a cool street shark on it.
That's pretty good.
Did it say anything about lemons? It tastes a little lemony, doesn't it? Am I crazy? Is that the citrus? The lemon citrus?
I taste a little bit of it. It might be with the Citra hops.
Let's hope the Sharkinator doesn't hype whale us.
Yeah. Which, if you want to know what that reference is,
yes.
Starting next week, every Tuesday, we are going to be posting full beer reviews. You've seen us do stuff like this, but now we are going to have a little more in-depth beer reviews. Nothing too lengthy, but, we'll be reviewing some beers for you. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little something called the Hype Whale is on its way. You'll find out about that more every Tuesday. Not this Tuesday, not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow.
Yeah.
Our very first beer review will go live.
That's right.
But until then...
What else are we talking about?
We're talking about some movie news.
Oh.
So, I did the movie news today, so let's jump in. There's been a lot. Another big week.
Okay.
Another big week for movies. Couple smaller ones to get them out of the way that I'm sure you will be thrilled about.
Ant-Man? He's small.
Ant-Man is small. Ant-Man is not in the news today, though there is a little bit of Marvel news.
Okay. Every week. The
first non-Marvel news, though, is from our good friend Adam Sandler.
Okay.
Big fans of him
week.
Here on the show.
Yeah.
You can expect our review of his new Netflix show as soon as that goes live, or Netflix movie when that goes live.
Yeah, it's already out for you guys.
Oh, is it out already?
When they're watching it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
We'll have a review up at some point.
Yep.
Another fun Adam Sandler.
Comes out for us in 2 days.
He is going to be producing, writing, and starring in an animated movie from his production company and another animation company, not related to the Hotel Transylvania movies that he was in, but that wasn't actually
or 8 Crazy
producing
Nights.
or 8 Crazy Nights. That was Happy Madison, wasn't it? I don't know.
I guess.
So if you're a fan of Adam Sandler, he's got an animated movie he's working on.
He's gonna write it, right? You said that.
This is producing, writing, and acting in it, and starring in it.
I can't wait for the day where he starts directing too, when he graces us with that.
Okay, and I bring this up because we're both old fans of Adam Sandler.
Yes.
So I want him to succeed. I don't put this in here hoping that it's gonna be shit.
I want him to want to succeed because it doesn't seem like he's wanted to in a while.
That's true. Maybe this is something.
Who knows?
I like 8 Crazy Nights.
Movie that we haven't seen yet, the Netflix one, his new Netflix original. I don't remember what it's called.
Is it the Do-Over? Do something?
Something like that.
Uh-huh.
Maybe that movie is hilarious. Maybe it's awesome. It's rated R, so maybe it's
Yeah.
Well, so was whatever that last one with Andy Samberg and him was too.
Oh.
But I don't know. Who knows? I don't have high expectations. That Ridiculous Six was one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And he didn't even try. He literally looked like he was not trying in that movie. So we'll see, though. An animated movie, we'll see what the concept is. There was no report on that, right?
No, there was nothing about the plot or any kind of details like that. It was just that he was developing this. Some more news that I'm sure you'll be thrilled about is we're getting a new Garfield movie.
Lasagna.
Just knocking it out of the park this week with movie news. Jim Davis is actually on board to produce this. It'll be a full CG movie. So that gives me some hope and some interest in this one.
Some hope and faith.
Yeah.
What was that? Who was in that sitcom? That Tara gives you
Yeah,
some
it was
Is that the one with Kelly Ripa?
Yeah, it's Kelly Ripa and
Megan Fox was the daughter?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. She was. And wasn't the one named Faith? Or Hope? One of them was actually named Hope.
Kelly Ripa's name isn't Hope or Faith.
I know that, but the other one I thought was named...
Oh.
I want to say Hope Davis, but that's not right. It wasn't Hope Davis.
No. she's a soccer player.
And wasn't
Solo.
wasn't Ted McGinley in that too? Wasn't he the husband?
I didn't watch.
Or was somebody else? I watched it. I actually watched that show.
Okay.
No, it was, I don't know. So interesting piece of news. Now moving into some Marvel news. Got a couple stories here. First one is the writers of Infinity War have teased a...
For Marcus and Stephen McFeely?
Yes, have teased a Guardians of the Galaxy crossover with the Avengers, which we all kind of assumed was going to happen. Like, we all kind of... We didn't necessarily know, but
It was confirmed that Chris Pratt was going to be in it, but never any of the other Guardians.
But they kind of come out and said, hey, you know, Thanos is supposed to be the big villain of this, and Gamora's the daughter of Thanos, so you do the math and figure out, you know. So they kind of all but confirmed officially that...
You would assume they're going to be in it, and it would be weird, too, unless she dies in the second Guardians movie, if Nebula, if she wasn't part of it as well, being the other sister, and the other sister, yep, that movie with Diane Keaton.
Yeah.
She was Nebula. Yeah.
It's exciting.
I mean... So, it has to happen, right? For a variety of reasons. One, that makes sense. But two, all right, so they've upped the ante with Civil War by adding Black Panther, by adding Spider-Man specifically, right? So then it's like, how do you continue to up the ante?
Yeah.
You put the Guardians in a Marvel, like in an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
And then after that, I don't know what they do. Like, if you keep adding all these ingredients to the pot, they're so cool. I don't know what you can add after that besides somehow getting Ben Affleck's Batman in the next Avengers movie. Like, where do you go from there?
You almost have to, like...
They will get smaller after that.
I was going to say, you almost have to, like, hit the reset button and kind of go back, like, dial it back and say, okay, now we'll do with, like, the other Marvel properties and we'll build up that. And
that's the assumption with this
because this is just to shake everything up.
It's going to kind of close the door on some of these Avengers characters that maybe those actors won't appear for a while, and then you bring them back to up the ante.
That's how you up the ante later on, is you bring everybody back.
You don't have some of these people for a while.
But it's cool. I'm excited. I you know, one thing that I thought about this is we talked about this a little bit with Spider-Man in Civil War versus Homecoming, is that the writers are going to be different. So I'm curious to see how these writers handle James Gunn's characters. And how that works out.
I have a lot of faith in them.
I do too.
One thing that I was thinking about after Civil War, even though Spider-Man was fantastic, he was funny, blah, blah, blah. But I think that he kind of overstayed his welcome, and I'm happy he's going to be doing his own thing. But if Joss Whedon was still doing these Avengers movies, imagine him being able to write Spider-Man and be able to write Rocket Raccoon.
Yeah.
And what he might have done with that. It could have been really good. But...
I do have faith in these
guys. I mean, the three movies that they have written are three of the best Marvel movies.
Sure.
So
and it's not that I don't have faith in them. It's more of I'm curious to see if you can tell, like if they feel any differently because they aren't written by James Gunn or they're being written by these folks instead.
And also, it might be okay if it's different.
No, I don't have a problem if it's different. I'm just curious if it's like...
No, I agree.
Like if they feel off or something, because we've only known these characters to be written as part of James Gunn's creation.
Sure, yeah. We'll find out.
Yeah. So next piece of movie news. This is kind of a big one. Not quite as big, I think, as our final story, but this is kind of a big one. Speaking of Marvel and Disney and Pixar and Lucasfilm, Netflix has acquired the streaming rights for, like, the exclusive streaming rights for all Disney properties starting in, I think, in September of this year.
Right.
That's a huge get.
Yeah, so the way this is going to work is they made a deal with Disney a few years ago to have a lot of their back catalog. I'm sure if people notice, you go on there, you can find Dumbo, you can find...
Yeah, there's a lot of classics.
Not all of them, but there's a lot of them. A lot of the 90s cartoons are on there too. Again, not all of them. Like, you have Mulan and Tarzan, but you don't have Lion King or Beauty and the Beast. But I think that might change now with this new deal too. But the new deal is they are going to have the exclusive rights that pay cable would usually get. So it's like a month after the Blu-ray comes out, they can have Civil War. Where before that window, somebody like an HBO would have bought that.
Yeah.
Or a Showtime.
It'd show up there, and then it would eventually show up to Netflix.
Right. So now it's going to be like, and it starts with the 2016 movies, so Jungle Book, Zootopia, Civil War, Rogue One. Like a month after those Blu-rays come out, they're going to show up on Netflix. My question for you then is, yes, that's awesome. Is that going to prevent you from buying something like a Zootopia knowing that in a month it's going to be streaming?
Probably not. Because usually if there's something that I really want that I'm going to go out and buy, like, I'll buy it anyway.
Yeah, but it is big. I completely agree. I'm going to buy Zootopia day one. I'm going to buy, Finding Dory if it's good. I'm going to buy Civil War, Rogue One. And I buy way less movies than I used to.
Yeah.
Like, significantly less. But those are the kind of movies that I make the exception for.
Like this won't ever stop me from not buying a Star Wars movie or something like, I'm still going to go out and get Rogue One day one and things like that.
Rogue One day one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's cool. And definitely for people who no longer purchase films and only use the Netflix streaming, like,
this is big. It's
only better for them.
Yeah.
And it's surprising, right? I heard something like the rumor was it's about $300 million a year or something.
Wow.
And a lot of now that Netflix is so heavily into their original programming, there was a lot of speculation that they were moving kind of away of spending this kind of money on movies that were not their own. But here we are, them getting some of the biggest movies.
Now, what I will be curious to see is that if this hurts the home video sales of these movies, because we'll be like,
no, it will.
I'll still go ahead and buy Zootopia or buy this. There will be people who are like, in another month I can just go ahead and get it on Netflix.
This could honestly, because these are Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars. There's almost no bigger brands.
Yeah.
This could kill physical media. It really could.
This is probably the beginning of the end.
Genuinely could. Yeah. Once people really start to realize that all this stuff is showing up on Netflix that quick, you might see digital movies it's eventually going to happen anyway, where we can only buy digital movies, really.
I'm going into
it'll
there
be
kicking
reserved
and
to Criterion releases. But yeah, this could accelerate that for sure.
Last piece of news on here, and this is
good, by the way. I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
I'm liking it a little less and less as I drink it. Like, I'm not in a bad way, but I'm not getting as much taste out of it as I would like. Like, I'm just not tasting much flavor there.
I see.
Now this for me is probably the biggest news on the list, because one of my favorite horror movies of all time is Halloween.
One of mine as well.
And the man who started it, John Carpenter, is returning to the franchise. Not in the way that I would like him to return to it. Maybe. I don't know. I am not sure on that point yet. But he is coming back. We mentioned, I think, on the show quite a few weeks or months ago that Dimension Film lost the rights to the Halloween franchise. And I guess Blumhouse has picked it up. And they're bringing John Carpenter on to executive produce, possibly do the score for, and kind of
that would be something.
Work closely with the team and the director to bring out, for this next Halloween film.
Yeah, so I saw a lot of, and apparently the guy who made Oculus.
Yeah, and there was an update that Mike Flanagan is,
which I never saw. Was it good?
It's solid. There's parts of it I don't like, but it's one of those movies that I like enough where I was really excited to see what the director does next. And hearing him attached to a Halloween film makes me really interested.
Speaking of Nebula, that's her in that, right? Isn't it? Oculus?
I don't know. I can find out.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't seen it, so I might be remembering wrong. This is an interesting story. So I saw a few reports on this story this week, some of which just kind of said that it was like another Halloween movie, and some of which called it a reboot. Do we know?
I think it's supposed to just be in the next Halloween. I don't think it was restarting the series again. I think it's just supposed to be another Halloween movie.
Because that would be a lot better than seeing it rebooted again.
Yeah.
Because the back half of that Rob Zombie remake, was a remake, right?
Yeah.
It was the original movie again.
So I don't think we really need like another.
But they also might. That's a tricky one. it might make more sense to kind of relaunch the series at this point, but I also hope that they don't do that.
Yes, she was in Guardians of the Galaxy. I could see them try to do it in a way where it's just another Michael Myers story. Like, it's not necessarily rebooting it, like doing Halloween 1 again, but like it's Michael Myers going after somebody else, whether they bring Jamie Lee Curtis back somehow, or like do almost what Blomkamp's Alien movie was going to do, which is sort of like, we're going to start from after Alien or Halloween 2 or something and say, well, all the BS with the cult and stuff that you got in 4, 5, and 6, and or maybe start after H2O or something, who knows. But there's no details yet as to, I'm going to shut this off, as to like,
did speaking of, that was your last big
that was my last big story.
Speaking of Michael Myers,
okay,
there was one other story about Mike Myers.
Yeah, I saw something. I didn't get a chance to read it though. So if you want to go
Jay Roach, who directed the 3 Austin Powers movies, he just directed I forget what the hell it's called, but the HBO movie with Bryan Cranston where he plays Lyndon Johnson.
Oh yeah. I want to see
which
that.
debuted last weekend. So at the premiere of that, he said that him and Mike Myers have been discussing a 4th Austin Powers. Is that something that you would want to see?
Absolutely. I think we've had enough time.
There's definitely been enough. I realized when I read that story that I haven't thought of Austin Powers in a long time. I haven't watched an Austin Powers in a long time, and I was obsessed with these movies.
Yeah.
And it kind of made me realize that, like, those movies, as popular as the second and third ones became, did not really stay in the zeitgeist. I don't think people talk about them. But
like every now and again,
it would be interesting to see, because they were parodies of Bond movies, to see them kind of find a funny way to parody the seriousness of the Daniel Craig Bond movies.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that exactly,
also,
but you could see it happen.
Those were very much, I think the third one came out in the early 2000s, but the first 2 were very nice. I mean, and it was about, bringing the 60s guy into our time, and now how far technology has advanced and changed. And
I feel like I read one of the stories said it's been 14 years.
Yeah, I feel like it was like 2003 or something was Goldmember.
Maybe.
And then he did The Love Guru, which bombed, and that was like the last, other than Inglourious Bastards, I feel like that's one of the last things he's done.
Right, and then just today, it was announced him and Simon Pegg joined the cast of this thriller that Margot Robbie's in.
I think that might have been the story that I saw, that it was going to be Mike Myers' return to the screen since 2009.
Yes, him and Simon Pegg in a thriller with Harley Quinn.
I'm in. That sounds cool.
Sure, I don't. Yeah, we'll see how that goes, but it would be very interesting to see what the reception, and also if they could do it well, because as we've seen with comedies that go away for a long time and then come back, it's not a good track record. But it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I feel like it's also, we had the first 3, and I was hugely into those movies too.
Oh yeah.
And they sort of went away, and Goldmember kind of closed the chapter well enough where you were like, oh man, like I can't wait till the 4th one. You were satisfied. And then he did The Love Guru, and you're like, well, if this is what Austin Powers 4 is going to be, like, do we really want another one? And then there was, like, rumors and talk, like, every now and again it would pop up, and then Mike Myers kind of just disappeared, like Michael Myers.
That's right.
And now he's coming back, and I would be interested in seeing it, or do something totally brand new.
Yeah.
I
would probably be more interested in a Wayne's World 3, just to see them. And there were rumors about that when they reunited at the MTV Movie Awards or Music Awards a couple years ago. But I don't know. They also, did they do something together on the SNL 40th too, maybe?
I don't. Yeah, they reunited they did a Wayne's World sketch, I think, on one of those.
It would be cool to see that too, but
that'd be another one where I'd be excited about, but I would be afraid of them messing it up.
He was such a staple of the early 2000s and 90s. Mm-hmm. It's a shame that he really has kind of, but he made so much money on Shrek and stuff that I feel he just doesn't feel the need, and maybe it's just not there, and he doesn't want to become like Adam Sandler.
Have they ever talked about? Has he ever come out and said why he's not doing more stuff, or why?
I haven't seen it if he has.
Because when I read that article about him, in the Margot Robbie movie, And they're like, oh yeah, he hasn't been since 2009. I was like, that's right. Like I remember it being a big deal when he was in Inglourious Bastards because like that had been the first time in a while he'd really done something.
Yeah.
And now it
had been like 3 years since Love Guru, and now he hasn't done anything.
And now he hasn't done anything.
Yeah. I mean, there was Shrek movies.
Yeah. But I mean, you don't see him... Like, I don't even hear about him anymore. I think I remember seeing him... He was in the... I can't remember the guy's name. There was a documentary, Supermensch.
He directed that.
Oh, did he direct it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I remember him being in
But I still haven't
that.
heard anything like him interviews why he
kind of just
disappeared.
Okay.
Maybe.
Because you get those every now and again where the actors
he's
like...
really sad about Rick Moranis' wife, too.
Maybe.
All right. But yeah, interesting. We'll see what happens from that. But yeah, the Halloween thing, it sounds promising.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
When I first read it, I was like, well, his last movie was The Ward.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd want to have him come back and direct. But he's, I'd love to have him come back and do the score again.
That'd be something.
And if he can kind of usher in a promising director and give them a project like this, I'm all for it.
Yeah, for sure. So that's this week's movie news.
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
You can tweet. We tweet out more of our thoughts about movie news and stuff like that. I'm at Stonks.
I'm at Rich Belson. The channel's on Twitter at OABeer_official. You can email us at overbeerofficial@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/overbeer. YouTube, of course, youtube.com/overbeer. Instagram, we're on there, over_a_beer. And again, next Tuesday will be our very first beer review. So check that out at youtube.com/overbeer. If you enjoy these videos, like, share, and subscribe. And if there's a movie story that we forgot, go ahead and let us know in the comments below or tweet at us and let us know. But that'll wrap things up for today. So until next time, drink up.
Butter me up.